All right, well, welcome everybody to the FOW Asia event. This next 20 minutes is going to be the B3 Fireside chat together with Juca Andrade. He's Chief Product and Client Officer at B3. Juca, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Hope all is well over there.
Thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure to join you and FOW Fireside.
All right. Well, what I suggest is, look, we just to kick off with the questions. We are very much looking forward to hear what's going on at B3. Anybody who knows me will know that it is by far my favorite exchange in the globe. I have to say that. So let's kick it off. So obviously we have to start with 2020. It was a very volatile year in the financial markets. And as a result, the scale of global derivatives reached new record highs. So from the point of view of B3, what was the business situation like the first half of the year? Which products do you believe stood out in terms of performance? And what do you think the reason was behind that?
Okay, Richard. Yes, not only 2020, but also 2021 has been like record volumes for Brazil. It's a lot related with the boom that we have in the individuals coming to the exchange. Also foreign investors as well, but the really impressive increase was with individuals. So just for you to have an idea, we have been had around 500, 600K, so 1,000 investors in our equity depository in Brazil, and it moved up to 3.8 million this year, just for you to have an idea. But so it's a big increase in number of investors. And that reflects a lot in the number of IPOs in Brazil and also in terms of the ADTV for equities. So it has really bumped in Brazil. But not only that, and also important to mention that our mini contracts, a lot of trading as well is happening on the mini contracts. And I can mention the index future, which is the Ibovespa future. So for you to have a sense in terms of ADV for the mini index, we are about 17 million contracts this year compared to 10 million last year. And also on the dollar, we also have the mini dollar, which is the dollar BRL FX rate, also growing 23% this year. It's also important to mention that this year we have been seeing an increase as well, and the DI futures, the DI futures is the futures of short-term interest rate, where you build the interest rate curve in Brazil, and it's really moving up as well, like 20%, trading around 2.5 million contracts per day, with a lot of foreign investors participating in the whole spectrum of the curve. Remember that we have the short term of the curve and also the long term of the curve.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's pretty much it.
Okay. I mean, some would also say that the lower interest rate environment in Brazil has helped with the increase in volumes and people looking more at the capital markets. The central bank has been increasing interest rates with Selic now at 5.25%. What effect do you think, if any, will that have on volumes the second half of the year?
It has had a big impact in terms of volumes. Remember that for Brazilian standards, we most of the time we had like 2 digits interest rates, so above 10% for most of the time. Remember that we have the new currency, which was launched in 1994, which is the Brazilian real. So that's pretty much killed inflation since then. But we have been very high interest rates in Brazil since then. So it's been a long time, 25 plus years of high interest rates in Brazil. And this year, rates dropped to 2%. So that was the lowest ever we have seen in Brazil. So that really helped people moving away from fixed income instruments and moving into more risky products, including equities, right? So rates are coming back now, as you mentioned, to 5.25%, and it might increase more until the end of the year. But what is important to mention is that we're still at single digits. So probably we're going to reach like 7 or 8%, maybe, not sure. But it's still single digits. And in terms of at least considering that we have around 4 to 5% interest rate. So it still have like positive real rates, but after tax, it's pretty much inflation. So people are still trying to diversify in terms of risk. So in reality, people see or saw that only fixed income instruments is not the best alternative for you to have higher returns. So people are diversifying, and this is a trend to come to stay. It's not like a momentum thing, but people are really learning to diversify and take part of their exposures to more riskier assets. That would say.
Yeah. There's still an incentive clearly to search for alpha by the looks of it.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
So moving on, with market volatility intensifying, obviously the current scale of the futures markets, which is pretty large, accelerating structural changes. There are higher requirements placed on exchange services, but also on your information technology support, as well as your risk control systems. So what measures has B3 taken to improve performance in these areas? And more important, what are the plans for the future? Because it just seems to be growing more and more.
Yeah, that's true. It's important to mention that we have a state-of-the-art data center for B3, and it's not only our trading and post-trading platforms installed, but we have more than 100 clients that rely on our IT infrastructure, and it's really creating a financial ecosystem, right? Bringing clients together and the benefits of being with us there, right? And it's continued to be a really important tool to accommodate the Brazilian market's growth, our data center as well. We have been working in increasing our capacity as well, given the growth, not only in terms of amounts and reais amounts, but also in terms of number of trades as well. So we're investing in technology, the infrastructure. We are also improving our trading capabilities, including, for example, exchange-defined strategies, user-defined strategies, especially for interest rate curves. We're about probably launching early next year some of those improvements, and also improvements on the order entry, drop copy, market data protocols, and so on. So that's been really our main focus, increasing capacity and usability of the systems.
Moving on to clients, because obviously technology is very important, so are systems, but at the end of this, we do it all for clients. What are you doing to improve your relationships with your clients? And also, I think very important is to try to make the market more accessible to new investors, particularly foreign investors.
For sure. Remember that B3 was created in 2017. After regulator's approval. And the B3 is the former BMF, which was the derivatives exchange, plus the Bovespa, which was the equity exchange, plus CETIP, which is a clearing for fixed income and derivatives products. So everything now is together with B3. And when we created the B3, the first thing that we did was creating, let's say, my supervision for the products and clients. And then we created a specific group of people just dedicated to clients. That was the situation for CETIP. CETIP used to have like what we call the relationship manager, but BMF Bovespa was not so clearly defined the responsibility of client management. They used to have like also client plus product thing. And then we said, no, we need to focus on the client's needs and the client relationship. So we have this structure of client coverage and client relationship with relationship managers for Brazilians and for foreigners, right? So, so for you to have an idea, for the foreign part, we have offices now we are just opening again the office in United States, in Chicago. We have an office in London, and our director stays in London because of time zone. We used to have also a Shanghai office, and we're opening one in Singapore later this year. And not only by having this net of relationship managers, not only in Brazil, but also kind of spread around the world, we also have what we call inside B3, a client-centricity group, which is the main purpose is to make sure that all the projects related to clients are well addressed through our capabilities of product developments and new systems development. So we also bring all the necessities from the clients through this client-centric group to the exchange, and to make sure that we have the priority given for customers' needs in our system developments.
Yeah. To touch a bit on products, because you obviously are responsible for that segment too. I do know that the Brazil power market, so electricity market, is quite large, but at the moment it's only traded OTC and it's not centrally cleared. So there is counterparty risk in that market. And I know by my estimates, approximately 85% of the Brazilian power is generated through sustainable means, basically putting Brazil kind of ahead of the curve in terms of ESG goals. Is there any plans to B3 to enter into this space, to expand into power markets and potentially, have participants trade them on your platform?
Yes, this is something that we're looking on. So you're talking about the generation of energy in Brazil, but also you need to segregate the consumer side of Brazil, which is still the most part of Brazil is kind of regulated and it's not freely trading energy. So it's about 65%, but 35% is what we call the free market. So you need to have a minimum level of consumption for you to get into the free market, but it's growing. So in reality, the number of people moving to the free market is growing. Also, the bar for you in terms of consumption is getting lower as well. So the idea, the perspective of increase in terms of the power segment Brazil is big. And as you said, we don't have like a central clearing. And right now, we just launched earlier this year a risk management tool for the traders of energy to make sure that they have the right, the capability of fulfilling their obligations, especially in terms of their economic capabilities combined with their leverage that they have. So we are kind of controlling. And that's the first step towards moving into a potential central counterparty and in the end in derivatives trading. But we're still in the development phase of that. But B3 is working on this, and it's closely tied to regulators and to the traders of energy in Brazil.
Okay, well, I do know quite a lot of participants that actively trade it in Europe, and I'm pretty sure that they'll be very interested in this segment opening up in an emerging market like Brazil.
Yeah, sure.
I think maybe right now we can move on to a bit of a risk management type of question, given what we've been encountering last year. So affected by the...
Sorry, let me just finish with one thing that I think I forgot to mention that you asked about make it easier for foreigners to access the Brazilian market, right?
Yeah.
So you asked it in the previous question, and I forgot to mention that we are trying to make the easiest possible way for the clients, foreign clients to trade in Brazil. So we also approving acceptance of collaterals from other jurisdictions than Brazil. So right now we already have Netherlands, UK, France, United States, Luxembourg, and Cayman. And we are also looking into Asia to expand as well. And the main thing here is to look at the legal opinions at least from Japan and Singapore. We're working on that as well, in order to improve collateral assumptions for those jurisdictions as well. So Japan and Singapore to come, hopefully.
I'm very sure that those initiatives are going to be very welcome, very well. Just a bit conscious of time, I will move ahead to the question on risk management. So affected by the epidemic and the economic situation over the past two years, the risk management needs in various industry is become ever more important. So what type of systems and products does your company use to address risk management and control? And how have these new products or rules or systems and controls that you have in place helped investors and industry entities better manage their risk?
Great, Richard. The first thing that I would like to mention is our risk system, which is kind of a state of the art, I can tell you, because we have a single risk engine to run all the products that we have at B3. So for all different products that we have what we call the core systems, which runs like 10,000 scenarios per client, per positions. And then we calculate the risk exposure per client. So remember that we have the final investor account. So it's really state of the art, I can tell you. It's recognized globally and also accepted by United States and Europe. So that's the first part. And in terms of products, we have a three different types of products, including short-term interest rates and the interest rates term structure that I mentioned, but also inflation-linked products. And also, not only that, for interest rates, for example, last year we launched what we call the coupon options, which is the option on the rate policy decision by the central bank. So you just have a binary option on the change of the interest rates that the central bank is applying. So even if it's a flat rate, if it's increasing or decreasing by 25 basis points, 50 basis points, 75 basis points, so you have a digital option on that. We have the currency products that I mentioned already, not only the dollar BRL, but also other G10 currencies and also some emerging market currencies trading in Brazil. Equity index products, I mentioned Ibovespa, but also some foreign products, and also having the capability of locals investing abroad. So through BDRs, so depository receipts issued in Brazil by foreign companies, ETFs, and so on. So it's a pretty decent amount of products and capabilities for local clients to trade.
Yeah, I have been reading that DDRs is a product that's been taking off quite nicely for B3. So congratulations on that.
True.
Obviously, next to the risk management, it is also important that we as companies play a role in society. I do know that B3 has a very strong social arm that has been working to improve education in Brazil. But not only education, but also more on having a social impact on the country. Could you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. We would say refurbish somehow our social initiative in Brazil. So the main purpose of our social arm, what we call B3 Social, which is socially Portuguese. And the main areas of focus of this area is to help education, the basic education of Brazil. So that's the main purpose. So to improve the level of education, especially for the ones that need it more, right? But when looking back to 2020, because of the pandemic, we also invested, we were one of the biggest companies in Brazil to invest in the help of the pandemic as well. So we invested alone in 2020, 50 million reais, which is about $10 million, just helping all the issues related with the pandemic. So including hospital needs and including some basic assistance need for the population. So that has been really a focus of our activity. And more than that, not only from the social arm, but from the education side, which is part of my group as well, which we take care of education, but that's more, let's say, not the basic education, but also the financial education. Yeah. And then we are providing the education site, and a lot of the content is free, so you can just join and subscribe and have a lot of financial education as well for yourself through our educational hub. That's how we call the site of B3 for that.
Oh, breeding the next generation of B3 traders, I see.
That's true, exactly.
Excellent. So I do believe that we're running out of time. So Juca, I would like to thank you very much for your time and for your your explanation, bringing us up to date with what's going on with B3. My name is Richard de Bruijn. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm a managing partner at Compass Partners. Always a pleasure to speak with you, Juca. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll speak soon again.
Thank you, Richard. It was a pleasure talking to you again, and have a great time. And hopefully to see you back in Brazil anytime soon.
I hope so too. Cheers.
Thank you.